Welcome to my initial thoughts and review of Harvest Moon Light of Hope. It was released on the PS4, PC, and the Nintendo Switch on November 14th this year, and it was created or released in celebration of Harvest Moon's 20th anniversary, so that's kind of cool. Before I really get into it, there's a couple things I want to note. One, this is my first Harvest Moon game that I've ever played, so I will be looking at this without any of the prejudice of the previous games. This is my second game of this type, so the only other game I've played in this sort of style is Stardew Valley, so with those in mind, that's kind of where my mindset's coming from, where my thoughts come from, so. I've played it for a couple of hours now, and I have a list of my pros and cons, and I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide if it's something that you guys want to give a try based on those. I figure we will go ahead and start with the pros of the game. When you first start out, you can choose between being male and female. The graphics are simple. They're not anything to they're not amazing, but they're not awful. I enjoy them. They're pleasant. And I really like how unique each of the character designs are. It seems like some of the characters that are going to be popping up in this game are references to characters of different games and stuff, so obviously I'm missing that aspect as I haven't played any of them, but you know, for people who have played it, it might be nostalgic to play this game if there are characters and things from previous games that pop up. Something that's kind of nice and kind of not is there is no need to switch between your tools. This is pretty useful when you have a lot to do in one area and you don't have to be switching between them. However, that does mean that you accidentally do things you wouldn't do if you had more control over what you had in your hands. I have a big problem with accidentally plowing the ground when I'm picking grass or trying to harvest a rock or a tree or something. And that's just not something you would do if you had only an axe or a pickaxe in your hand. You also auto-complete your harvesting, so you just click on a tree to harvest it, you don't have to hold it, which I guess saves your finger, but at the same time you can't cancel it. So if you start actually, there's a lot of times where I've accidentally harvested a tree when I was trying to pick up a piece of grass or something, and there's no canceling it once you've started. The other problem with it is, say you notice you have little of your energy left and you've already started harvesting that tree, you're just gonna pass out. You can't stop yourself. You just continue harvesting. You can't try to walk away or cancel. Maybe you can. Maybe I just haven't seen it. I'm going to talk about it later, but the game kind of drops you after a little bit, so it doesn't tell you all of the controls that you need to know. So there's that. The concept of the game is that you are trying to rebuild this town after there's been a big storm. And I really like that idea. You gather up the materials, you build up the houses, and that's how you get the people to come back to your town. Which, again, I think it's a neat way. It kind of doesn't make sense. You build up the house and the next day, poof, for some reason these people were drawn back to their house. Because it's kind of indicated that the storm happened recently and might have done it, but it's also conflicting because it sounds like it's been abandoned for a long time, and so the storm happened a while ago, so I'm not really sure if that's a mistaken translation or what the whole thing is, but it is really weird. They're just like drawn back to the house once it's built, like, oh wow, thanks for building this, let me come in. That said, I really do enjoy the rebuilding, but I wish I had more effect on the building, opposed to just almost in essence step and fetching. You know, collect this certain type of wood, this certain type of stone, maybe little extra things for the person, and then you just hit the house with your axe once, bam, house built. I think it'd be cool if you could choose maybe the material it was made out of, choose some of the colors. If I had it my way, what you would do is you would actually meet the people before you get the house, and they'd have a list of things that they would want, but you would kind of be able to design it however you wanted. Maybe choose a layout, or choose the things that are sitting outside the house, so maybe the flower shop with like a plant box, and then you can choose what the plant box looks like or where it goes or something like that. Because right now it just feels, like I said, step and fetch. Get all the materials, you're done. yay. I guess a lot of the actions for the quests feel not rewarding or underwhelming. Back to the pros, though. Some of these things are like the main concepts of pro, but it isn't quite finished. But for this one, you can save at any time. I know some people don't really like the whole you can only save when you sleep premise. This game does not have that. You can save at any time you want, as well as only saving when you sleep, if that's what you choose to do. You can also sleep without saving, and you can have multiple saves. Something else that I really enjoy is that you get different prices depending on who you sell to. For example, there's a lot of foraging, you can get different types of flowers, and if you sell them to the flower shop, you get it at a better price than at the general store just by tossing it in your box. It has all of like the essential things you'd expect in this type of game. You get to upgrade your tools, there's foraging, ranching, fishing, farming, mining. That said, a lot of them feel like they could use more to them. For example, with the mine, you go in, you hit 1 to 5 rocks, and then you plow the ground until you find a ladder down. And it seems like with the ladder, it randomly chooses what square it's on, and then you just gotta try to find it, opposed to there's a chance every hit to find it. I don't know if that's the case, it's just what it feels like. So there have been times where I've plowed the entire floor of the mine before I find the ladder. Something that I always enjoy in games is when they give you various types of weather. Obviously you have the seasons, but with the different types of weather per season, and they have different effects on you, or your crops, or your livestock. You know, in the summer, if you hit a heat wave, your plants are far more likely to wilt if you haven't been keeping up with them. Or there's serious blizzards, so you don't really want to go outside, the villagers won't want to go outside. And I think it's cool that it has an effect on you, whereas in most games, weather is just kind of a change of scenery for the player. I also really like how the sleep affects you the next day, so if you go to bed early, you get a really happy face, and it seems like you can do a whole lot more before getting tired. If you pass out, you get a sad little blue face, and all of your villagers will comment on how you clearly need to sleep better, you need to go home and sleep, and they're very concerned for you, and it also makes it so that you run out of energy way quicker. So I like that there's that effect. So those are the things that I've enjoyed, that I've noticed in the last couple hours that I've played. But on to the things that are mostly negative. First off, no character customization to speak of. Like, you get to choose between male and female, but that's the end of your customization. And I'm just snobby. I want to have some kind of input on how my character looks. Luckily, I don't mind the way the default character looks, but I'd like it even more if I'd had a choice. Even if it was just changing the hair color, you know? Every little bit goes far for me. The directions that you receive are not unique to the platform that you are using. So they'll do something like touch or click on this area. Touch the screen or click. And so it really does feel like they just copied this and pasted all 3 versions onto the 3 platforms and didn't do anything to kind of make it unique to the platform that it's on. The beginning of the main quest and the beginning of the game is a lot of running back and forth. So you meet this girl, she'll tell you what to do, you go do it, and then you go back to her. And then you go forward, you find out what you need to do, but you don't know how to do it, go back to her. And she's on like the edge of the map. So there's a whole lot of go find this thing, only to have the thing to tell you to go back to the place where you just were to ask her how to deal with this. Then to go back to where you were before that. So it gets a little better as you go, but those first couple days there's a lot of go back to the first person you met and ask her. Another problem that I've had, and this might just be me, is there's like no real indications you're about to pass out from exhaustion. Like, they have the hearts in the little corner of the screen, and once you get down to like a half heart, it like bounces every once in a while. but I kind of wish, like, once you got down to 1 heart, your person would get a little sweat drop, or maybe some Z's, or the motion of the hearts would be more extreme so it gets your attention. Because I passed out probably 7 times in my gameplay so far, just because there's no indication, and it gets even worse because I didn't realize at first that having a tired face from passing out makes it more likely that you will pass out, in essence, because you have so little energy and you've already gotten used to kinda sorta what energy levels you have on a good day. And so there was like a week where I just continued to pass out because I wasn't observant enough, so I wish there had been a bigger indication that you're about to make yourself pass out again. And one of those reasons, like I said before, was I started harvesting a tree, had no way to cancel, so I harvested until I passed out. Another thing, and kind of related to the same topic, is there's no real character menu. I would kind of like one for seeing, like, what that mood or status, I don't really know what to call it, how it like, the stats of how that affects you. Like, through gameplay, I've gathered that the blue face means you can do less in a day, and people will comment on it, but to what degree? You know, is it, I only have 1/3 of my energy than I normally would? Anything like that? What does I think there's a green face, what's that one mean? Opposed to the pink one. So, you can kind of gather through gameplay, but I personally would like to be able to read what it's causing. So, another thing is there's no real leveling up, which I understand, but I kind of like it when you can gain different types of perks through your gameplay, so mining faster, or like increase the chance of finding the ladder, or running faster, or have a chance to pick up 2 forageables. Those things just kind of help your gameplay, especially in late game, but I haven't noticed any way of leveling up or getting new perks. Another problem I've been having is the villagers seem to just disappear. They're overall very difficult to find. You'll know you have a quest with this one guy, and you can't find him. He won't be on the map. When you go to his house, it either says no one's there, or that you should come back later. And I wish that was a little more descriptive. Like, how much later? Tomorrow? In 10 minutes? What do you want from me? How do I find this person that I really need to talk to progress this quest? My guess right now is that they're programmed to be in different places at different times, as you would expect, but it doesn't take into account that there are certain areas that are still blocked to the main character, or they should be blocked to everybody. An entire bridge missing should make it so people can't travel across it, but that's the only thing I can guess is happening, because they just straight up disappear. They're not in their house, they're not in any of the sections on the map, because the map does show where they are. Sorta. It'll say they're in an area. Like, one of them will say, this guy is on your farm, and then you can run all the way around it, and you won't find the guy. So, it's mostly helpful, but not always helpful. The shop time is kind of figuring out when they'll be able to sell to these people. Very hard to figure out. I'm sure it has to do with the time frame, but I'm kind of used to, you know, they're there on specific days or not, opposed to, they kind of get there at 2, maybe. That just might be me. I might just not have figured out the pattern yet. I'm not used to the way that this particular franchise handles that, so maybe I'll get it figured out, but right now it's just kind of obnoxious not to be able to find people and to do what I need to do to continue playing. The days seem to feel very long, especially at the beginning of the game. They seem to go slower than in something like Stardew Valley, which I imagine could be really helpful, but it doesn't feel very helpful in this game. It might just be that I don't understand what I need to be doing, but there were days where I went to bed at noon. And you should probably get some kind of status, mood, whatever you want to call it, for sleeping that much. You know, like groggy from oversleeping. But there's no punishment. There's actually, the villagers will like try to convince you to go home and quit your day early if you get down to like 1 heart. They're like, why don't you cut your day short and just go to bed? And it's like, I don't know. I feel like I should be doing more, but I don't know what more I could be doing. You know, you can harvest or forage for stuff, but that only happens every couple of days. You can collect only so much wood and stone and stuff before you're tired. The mines are a pain in the butt because you have to, until, I assume once you upgrade the hoe, you'll be able to clear more area and find your ladder faster, but right now, clearing one spot at a time. And some of them are very big, so you lose all your energy real fast. A lot of the quests, you rebuild a house, the people will show up the next day. And so you can't really progress in that way until the next day. So there were a lot of days where I felt like I was at a loss of what to do next. So I just went to bed. For the overall way the game treats you, in the very beginning, it super babies you. Like, hover over a square and click it. And that will cause you to do this thing. Okay, hover over the square, click it, now you plant. Hover over it's like, okay, I think I got the principle of clicking where I want something. Kind of a given in most games. I kind of get that concept. But, then it just drops you. Like, will baby step you through the part that most people can figure out, and then fishing? Figure it out. Like, they give you the fishing pole, and that's it. They don't tell you how to use it. Nothing like that. And I actually ended up having to look online to figure out how to use it. Maybe it's, the mechanics the same as previous games, but as somebody who's not played any of them, I didn't know how to do it. So I could figure out from other games that you needed to wait until the bobber got pulled underwater. Then you hook the fish. I got that. But then it brings up a bar, and I had no idea to bring it from the red zone to the blue zone. I tried clicking and holding and doing all the things, but what it ended up having to be is spamming the button. Just hit the button a bunch to get it to the zone. And I had tried, hitting that button, but almost every game I've ever fished in, you hold to reel in. So, somebody saying how to do that would have been super nice. Something indicating that material stone versus stone is a refined stone, and you have to pay somebody to do that. That would have been cool to understand from the beginning. So there's all these little things where it's just like, I would have liked a little more direction. There's like a bookcase you can read in, but there's not even any books on that in there on how to do stuff. Another thing they don't tell you is that you can plant 6 crops at a time if you hold the button. And I had known there was a way because I watched the trailer. So I understood that there had to be a way to do the thing. I don't know if it's 6, but you can plant multiple crops at a time. But it never tells you how to do it, or that it's a thing you can do. Most people would probably assume that's something you can learn how to do as you go. As is, you can't do that with the watering, or the using the hoe, or anything like that. That's stuff you have to upgrade to get, but the fact that you can plant a lot of crops would have been a good thing to know ahead of time. In that time where they were telling you, hover over the square, and click. Got it! There are some animations that not great, to be honest. They have the or when you're taking down a tree, the swing at the tree when it's upright, it's solid, but if you pay attention, they swing to hit the tree, the character goes back to the default stance where the arms are down at their side. Then they have the axe up in the air again and they swing and then back to the default. It's really quick, it's hard to notice, but it's kind of jarring. If once you notice, you can't unnotice it, so that's a bit of a problem. I don't know why it has to default back to the arms down before swinging again. The other thing is when you're harvesting a stump, you just kind of axe at the air, because why not? They don't swing towards the stump. Another thing is, there's something about the way the main character moves. I guess all of the characters move. They just don't look like they're on the ground. When you run sideways, it looks like you're hovering a few inches off the ground. It's not nearly as noticeable when your character is walking at the screen, like towards you. That said, the female's legs clip through her skirt every step she takes, so there's that. Just little things like that. Like they didn't take the time to find a way to work around that or make it look better. which is a little unfortunate. I also haven't really seen any indications that we'll be able to change our character's clothes, like give them a hat or anything like that. I think there is some decoration. There is a guy that, as you do his quests from him, it sounds like it unlocks it, but it doesn't sound like there's a whole lot that you can do. You can't rearrange this stuff on your farm. You already have the chicken coop, the barn, and the silo placed when you get there. You just need to rebuild it. So there's no customizing the layout of your barn, which is a little unfortunate. Another problem that I've not personally experienced yet, but I know it's bothering people, is the main quest can be completed within the first season. You know, before you're even out of spring, you can have completed the main story plot. That's that, and I personally haven't gotten through it that fast because there was a lot of times where I didn't know what I was doing or how to do it. For example, they make it very clear you need to fish to get this thing, alright? So I found out how to get the guy to give me the fishing pole, got the fishing pole, did the fishing, didn't get the thing. The problem is you needed to have also another dude and gotten his house set up to trigger it, but it doesn't, I don't know. Probably just me, but I got kind of stumped there. So overall, I've been enjoying the game. I've put in quite a few hours. I'll continue to. I really want to get to know the characters. I feel like those are going to be the only thing that really adds any kind of long-term stuff. Oh, besides the crops. I didn't mention this in the pros because I was silly and I didn't add it to my list, but there's a whole lot of different types of crops you can grow, and then there's 4 different types of grass and ground that you can plant them on, and there's different types of fertilizer you can use, and these all can result in mutations. So that's going to add some kind of late game, is trying to find all the combinations that create these mutations so that you can fill out your list. Same with, there's a lot of fish that are going to only be out at certain times and certain seasons. I don't know about weather. Different locations. So there is some things that will add to the late game, but most of it's going to be completionists things. There's not a lot of the story, which is fine. I understand that's not always a thing for these games, but it just feels like it's a game still in beta, and they've got a solid groundwork, but it's not quite finished. I feel like all of the areas that they have could add more, you know? I feel like the mines could be more than hit 4 rocks, plow the ground till you find a ladder. I think there could be more to those. I feel like maybe the forage could be a little different, you know? Everything comes from a single icon, in essence. It's just a big old flower. What you get from it randomized. So maybe having them look like what they give you, or something like that, could add to it. I don't know. It feels incomplete or lacking in some capacity or another. Hopefully the more I play, I'll find more to do, and that I'll enjoy the characters that they've provided us. There's a whole romance and marriage system. I haven't really been interested in pursuing that yet, mostly because the quest feels like it's the tutorial and I kind of want all my tools and stuff before I progress. I don't know. I'm gonna keep playing it, so it's not awful. But I do kind of hope that maybe some stuff was added. That said, this was a $20 game, or $20-ish dollars. It was on sale when I purchased it. It's still within the $20 range. So, that said, maybe there's a lot for that price. Maybe we're just used to expecting more from a game, because we're used to spending more for a game. I kind of feel like this might be great for people who have played Harvest Moon before, for the nostalgia aspect of it, but I also feel like it might be a disappointment to them because it's lacking. I don't know. I feel like maybe there was more in previous games. Maybe not. I don't know. So if you guys have played the previous ones, you can let me know how this looks in comparison to the previous ones, if it looks like about the same and what you'd expect, if it looks lacking, if there's anything really new that you're interested in, things that it's missing that you are gonna miss if you play the game. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this not so short review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.